There's no doubt Seiko is the brand that got more people into watch collecting than any other. They made true value-driven watches that earned a loyal following, but lately, more and more, they feel like the complete opposite. They've always been known for combining quality with affordability. From the Five Sports line to divers like the SKX, their watches were oftentimes the first automatic anyone purchased. And it makes sense why. With in-house movements, solid craftsmanship, and a deep history, they've established real credibility in the watch community, to the point that even seasoned collectors respect Seiko, which is a bit rare for an entry-level brand. But it's that respect that has fueled people's journey deeper into collecting Seiko watches. And while brands like Casio and Timex are often the first watch someone owns, whether that be the F91W or G-Shock, Seiko is more times than not the brand that turned them into a watch enthusiast. So it really pains me to see how things have shifted for them over the past handful of years, moving away from what made them special and beloved in the first place. Their focus is much more heavily towards limited edition drops that recycle the same specs we saw years ago, now dressed up and sold at premium prices, only to be justified by the 1 of 500 exclusivity. This doesn't take away from the fact that their watches look awesome. They have a design language that's sporty, a bit refined, and built to perform as proper two watches should. But we are in a frustrating chapter of Seiko's history, and I really hope they find their way back to what made them great in the first place. Because when Seiko gets it right, they're unbeatable. Throughout the years, they've released a ton of legendary watches. The Astron was the first quartz watch that kicked off the quartz revolution. And the 62 Moss is my absolute favorite, and a watch that kicked off Seiko's journey into dive watches. That's rugged, reliable, and 150 meters of water resistance. It was a serious tool watch that paved the way for decades of other iconic Seiko divers, like the Tuna, which is a bit over-engineered, built like a submarine, and the first watch to feature a titanium shroud, an L-shaped gasket, and have helium resistance. And we definitely can't forget the biggest legend of all Seiko divers, the SKX. RIP to the most symbolic watch in their catalog that represented the amazing bang for buck they were most known for. Like many of you, it was the first watch that got me into becoming a watch nerd, and also the first watch that got me into watch modding, so it will always have a special place in my heart. Seiko's legacy is no joke. They've earned their place in the watch world with a long hit list of iconic models, and you could easily point to just about anything from their Presage or Prospex lines to prove their impact. But to illustrate the concern I'm raising, let's take a look at their latest release, the Five Sports Pepsi Limited Edition. This collection includes two stylish watches, and to be fair, Seiko has never struggled with design. Fresh, eye-catching watches have always been one of their strengths. But when you look underneath the hood and compare the specs to the retail prices, that's where things start to fall apart. If these watches look familiar, you're not wrong. They follow a design blueprint first introduced with the original Rolex GMT Master back in 1954. But of course, Seiko has added its own twist to make it theirs. This isn't the first time Seiko's used the Pepsi colorway on their bezels, and it probably won't be their last. The blue and red color scheme always brings a ton of personality to any watch, adding just the right pop without feeling over the top. What sets this new collection apart is the fact that it is an official collaboration with Pepsi, something you never see from Rolex. Both of these models fall under the Five Sports name and consist of a GMT and a diver. Between the two, I think the GMT is the big standout. I love how the blue and red bezels play off the black dial and black PVD coated case, and then throw in that black silicone strap, and you've got a cool, fun watch that feels fresh in the lineup. While I'm not the biggest fan of the oversized Pepsi branding, this is a collaboration, so it makes sense, and I do appreciate how the GMT leans into its color scheme. The hands and hour markers are outlined in Pepsi blue, filled with white lume, and the red arrow-tip GMT hand ties it all together, creating a bold mix of colors that works really well in this format. Switching over to the dive watch, this one leans more into a retro look. The design pulls inspiration from Pepsi's 90s branding, featuring a silvery white dial that's a nod to the Pepsi cans from that era. There's also the Pepsi logo on the dial and the classic red and blue globe logo on the exhibition caseback, adding to that throwback design. Unlike the GMT, this model doesn't have the black PVD coated case. Instead, it sticks with the standard stainless steel and comes paired with a matching 3-link bracelet for a more traditional look. The Pepsi bezel follows Seiko's familiar bicolor dive layout, with red covering the first 20 minutes and blue carrying through the rest. Like the GMT, the hands and hour markers are outlined in Pepsi blue and filled with bright white lume. adding a playful, cohesive touch to the overall design. But here's where things get interesting. Aside from the Pepsi branding and design influence, these are your standard Seiko 5 Sports models. Both watches feature 100 meters of water resistance, they're protected by a Harlex mineral crystal, and feature LumaBrite. The GMT has a 42mm case, and it's powered by the caliber 4R34 automatic movement. The Diver has a 38mm case with the automatic caliber 4R36. All standard specs for these watches, but the bad news doesn't stop there. Both watches are limited to 7,000 pieces, and there might be a little bit of a roadblock if you want to get one in the US because there's no specific information out there stating that it's going to come to the American market. As of now, product pages are live in the UK, Australia, and the EU, but no American listings are showing up as of now. And to add fuel to the limited edition fire are the prices. The GMT is priced at $625, and the Diver has a retail price of $439. I think you see where I'm headed with this in relation to my original point. Seiko is no longer the unbeatable, affordable option they once were. Take the new GMT Pepsi limited edition. The retail is $625, pretty much just for the Pepsi branding, because the standard 5 Sports has the same specs and builds quality, but retails for $475. That's a $150 jump, or a 31.5% increase, all just for a few extra colors. But underneath the hood, nothing's changed. Same movement, same crystal, same construction. The only thing you're pretty much paying for is an opportunity to own a limited edition. Now compare that to other watches in the market around the $600 price point, and you've got brands like Zelos, Laurier, Baltic, Notice, Traska, all who offer watches loaded with premium specs you'd expect at this level. Sapphire crystals, ceramic bezel inserts, higher quality movements, and better overall finishing, along with micro-adjustable clasps. I do think a big reason for Seiko's shift is because of this competition from all these awesome micro brands. Faced with this pressure, Seiko found itself a bit in a corner and decided to take a page out of Rolex's playbook, creating exclusivity in the form of limited editions. This doesn't take away from the quality or the stylish design Seiko offers. The issue is their watches don't feature the latest and greatest specs, and at the prices they're charging, I just don't feel compelled to buy, especially with so many great alternatives out there. I'm all for change and understand the need to pivot to stay profitable and even relevant, but the flood of limited editions with steep prices is frustrating, and honestly a bit disappointing coming from one of the greatest affordable watch brands. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but the facts are hard to ignore. What do you all think?